Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffey Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well as the podcast on Instagram and YouTube.
Forget that intro. Welcome to another Woodshop Podcast, episode 144, brought to you by your local VFW. Don't forget their weekly pancake breakfast and 25-cent drafts every Sunday. Your host, Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop, the king of man-tweezer multi-packs, and Polish draft dodger, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, the man who unhusked his torso, would be covered in buttered corn kernels, and me, Keith Johnson, rising leader of Shopcat Nation and walnut lover. Mike Coffey has flown the coop and we're running lean. Follow us all on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Grindr, Vero, and in your local penny saver. What is up, gentlemen?
Oh my God, you are hired. That is amazing.
That's it.
I got
Pete,
nothing
you're
on that.
out. You're out.
Now, Coffey's out. Dan, you're on ice.
You're on ice.
I'm always on ice.
I know. Wow, that was incredible.
That was
and
incredible.
The only reason we're able to afford such a celebrity on this show is because of our patrons. Now, if you missed the intro, Keith Johnson is visiting us again. Mike is at a festival event, so we got Keith this week. He was gracious enough to help. I threatened to not let him use my drum stander, so he said, "Fine, I'll do it." So that's how we got him. But we also got a couple of patrons that helped us make this show possible. And we got a new one this week, and it is Braden from Little Bug Woodworking.
Hey.
Yes, Little Bug Woodworking. That's a neighbor of yours, Dan.
My B rating worked.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not a patron?
Don't underestimate the power of guilt.
Weird, peer pressure works. You know, the cool kids are signed up. And here's a couple of really, really cool kids, our top tier patrons. So we got Daniel Bryson, Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking. Keith and I actually saw him a couple weeks ago. Malcolm from Bossa Nova Woodworks. He is definitely not doing anything with Dan's mom. Jake Kameen, Justin from Cavalry Customs, Christian Tung. Square Splinter, Tim from Lock City Woodworks, Michael Flickinger, Scott Holland, Michael Leiden, Alexander Kopajans, and Jacob Miller. Thank you so much, all of you. And there is definitely no hierarchy, but the lower you were on that list, the longer you've been with us, and we love you so, so much.
Speaking of Tim from Lock City Woodworks, did you guys see that he won the CNC that Morgan Hopp was giving away?
Did he really?
Vanity?
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yeah, Morgan was doing that really cool giveaway where he didn't like do a random number generator. He had people make videos and then he just kind of picked from his heart and he picked Tim. That is
awesome. I actually like that because
I
don't know, we've all done giveaways and sometimes it's hard to get the right person. That's not a giveaway account.
Yeah, big congrats over to Tim.
Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Oh my God. I guess all those good words we put in with Morgan Hopp finally paid off. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. We're taking credit. Yeah. You're welcome, Tim.
Which one of these patrons is entering? Him? Yeah, he's got it. Go to him. Well, what's going on, boys? How are you?
Not a whole lot.
Having a good time. A whole lot.
I don't do much. I don't do anything. I just show up for this once a week. You
kind of do, yeah. Yeah, me too. I just phone it in every week. It's always like me and Dan will legitimately text each other or the group once in a while and be like, "It's Thursday." It's not a question. There's no period, exclamation, nothing. It's just, it's Thursday.
A statement of fact.
Like, let me ask you this. Does your week start with a Friday? I feel like my week, my week ends with a Thursday because I have to remember.
My week starts with oh God, it hurts to move.
So you start a week every day.
Yeah, basically. Welcome to 44.
Keith, so you're working from home. You're self-employed. You do this full time. Did you lose your sense of the week, or do you have because of maybe I've heard people say when they launch a video, let's say Friday or Thursday, whenever, that's when their week ends. They think of that as the end of the week, not Sunday. How does your week look?
No, it's a weird mental thing now where every day can be a Monday or every day is a Tuesday. It doesn't matter. I work 7 days a week. The only thing that delineates the weekend is my wife is home. Like she's done work
Same.
on Friday.
Same.
And now I've been working so many long hours. Sometimes during the day, I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. I'll do it on night shift. Like I'll do it tonight when I'm out there.
And I only look forward to the
warped.
weekends. I only look forward to the weekends because my kids don't have to go to school. Therefore, I don't have to get up super early and take them to school. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, every day is the same pretty much can be. And which I do love that freedom. And even though I'm in the shop like all weekend, I don't necessarily give everything I got on the weekends, but I'm out there just because that's my hobby too. So I don't even know what else to do. I can't just sit around and.
What do I do with my hand?
So
yeah, same.
The cats don't want to be in the house. They want to be outside. They want to be in the
They
shop.
do. They haven't been out there in a couple of days, so I think they're getting a little restless.
Well, what do you mean? You're not in there? What's going on?
Nobody likes a restless cat.
I've been in the closet doing voiceover and editing all day today and yesterday. I was in Connecticut taking these 2 slabs up there for the client to look at and figure out, make sure we got the right design and leg design and sizes and everything. So yeah, I've been kind of running all around this week, picking up material and going over to True Trade Carpentry, their shop, and flattening stuff on their big old Laguna CNC. So
did the client? So well, we'll jump into like the what's on the bench, but I'm gonna grill you on some of the stuff that I know you're working on. So you did something that I've never heard someone do, which is instead of doing a sample piece, you took that slab that was flattened, hit the whole thing with shellac, and drove it up to the client to have them choose the orientation of the table.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Commitment.
Because I was finding like I liked the other side, even though when we had seen it from a picture in rough form, we had decided to go the other way. But then when I flipped it over and I put finish on it, I was like, this looks so much better. Not to mention just flipping it end for end looked different on both sides. So there were really 4 ways this slab could have worked. And ultimately she ended up picking the way that she originally had decided on, which is fine. The ultimate goal here is to make sure that I don't bring that thing in there and pop it down and she's like, oh, I wish we had done it the other way. Like I don't want that. It's worth the extra time driving up there and making sure that she's going to get what she wants. So because each leg is different on this. So if I build a mounting plate and recess it in for one specific leg and the other, like I can't just move them. She can't be like, oh, can we just switch legs, put that over there and turn this around? No, it's not like ambidextrous.
I wanted to point that out because like that's commitment, man. Like there's I know you're like the running joke on your podcast is that like you build projects at the speed of Keith, like you take a little longer, but like this is the reason like you really do truly think about this stuff. I've seen inside your head a little bit helping you out, and like the fact that you drove up there with the finish, literally like you put finish on it just so they could see the grain pop. And then the reason you did shellac, you explained it to me, was
it just comes off so easily, right? I mean,
I never thought
and not only that, if and I've learned this the hard way, is if you're using epoxy to fill voids or whatever, you really want to finish around those areas first. Shellac is just easy because it dries instantly, and then it seals the pores, and that penetrating epoxy can't penetrate around it. Because what you'll find, which Pete and I, when I did that cutting board, is if you don't seal the grain around it, it just seeps into those pores and you can't get it out. And even with 1 coat of shellac on this, there's still a bunch of black epoxy in some of the grain around the holes or voids that I filled.
Interesting.
So you almost got to do it with 2 coats, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, 2 things we learned from laser engraving a cutting board and then filling it with epoxy. Maple, the grain's not as tight as you think it is, first of all. Second of all, if you laser engrave something that doesn't like cauterize the grain, it's
the wood
still
fibers.
open. Yeah, the wood fibers. It's still gonna leak. Like this gray epoxy leaked like an inch around the thing and then like past it even. It was like
3/6 or almost a 1/4 inch deep.
Yeah, we ended up having to just cut it. He cut the whole piece off and then just made it on another piece.
The last thing I wanted to do was make a cutting board, and then I had to like remake half of it. Gosh, it was a nightmare. Lesson learned, though.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. That's what it's all about.
It is.
Learning and growing.
So now what are you doing with this slab?
So there's actually two. There's two desks. One is for this guy's podcast that he has. It's a finance podcast. So in this office, it's a room separated by glass doors. It's pretty cool. So on one side is the podcast desk where the recorders, and the other side is just his personal work desk. So yeah, in total, this was 3 slabs. One full slab for his podcast desk. The other desk is made from 2 slabs that I cut down the middle and then glued together. There's really not going to be that much of a live edge element in that one as there is on the other one.
This guy has a slab desk just for his podcast?
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like a failure all of a sudden.
I know. I'm literally here with a Wayfair.
They've got just what I need.
Metal thing. Yeah. I need a bigger desk in here is what I need.
I mean, I'm sitting at like a big L shape, but like it's like IKEA tops.
Yeah, I can see the nice
I'm sitting at
veneer there.
I'm sitting at a desk I made years and years ago. It's maple and birch and walnut. It's all kinds of stuff with
Sounds
the
like a
pipe
cutting
legs,
board.
with the Home
Depot gas pipe
legs.
behind.
I mean, it works.
You made it though. You made it.
Yeah, but it's far from flat. It needs a new top at least. At least.
I know a guy.
I do too, and one of these days I'm going to get around to it. I have a.
And Nick,
I actually
Nick
have
should get off his ass and do it.
I actually have a large walnut slab that I bought specifically for that, and one of these days, it's going to be what's on my bench. One of these days.
Your desk is on your bench.
Yes. Speaking of what's on my bench, you guys ready? Ready to do the damn
Oh,
thing?
I guess we're kind of in it already, but
let's do it officially right now.
Oh, officially, please.
What's on my bench?
All right, Keith. So you have to do all that all over again.
Yeah.
So, hey, Keith. So you took 2, but also you delivered some stuff last week. How did that go? Was that in fully?
So huge thank you to Pete for coming over and helping me not only glue this thing up. I couldn't have really done that myself. And then he came over with his ninja packing skills and helped me cardboard and shrink wrap this thing and get it loaded in my truck just in time to rain and snow.
Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. We put it in his truck and tarped it after it was all wrapped. I get home and like an hour later, I'm like, Keith, it's raining.
Well, when we were out there, I looked up. I could see the moon. I could see stars. I'm like, we're all right tonight. Unbelievable. And I was not expecting snow the next day. So when it started raining, I went back out and put a second tarp on it. And everything was fine, but it's like, oh my God, Lord help us. We could have probably laid those flat and then the tonneau how do you even pronounce that word? Tonneau cover, roll top cover.
Oh, the roll top cover.
Yeah, would have gone over it, but whatever. It was fine.
I didn't even think of it. I don't want to like lay it on its side, just mar it up or something.
I know.
That was a cool
project.
Yeah,
so that was, and like I said, like I told you, thank gosh that we decided not to glue that up as one big piece. It would have never made it in the house. Never.
Oh,
we would have had to cut a hole in the side of the house on the second floor and crane it in like Jason's gonna have to do with his couch.
Oh my God. I remember he's talking about that.
Yeah.
They put an addition on a house and then realized that they can't get anything up there.
Yeah, I listened to a couple episodes back where they talked about that, where you guys talked about that. I think.
I just pay a guy on Fiverr to listen to it and give me the synopsis.
free
give me the
free listen notes. To this and give me the clip notes. Yeah.
Just give me a brief outline. I tell you, I mean, that's happened more times than I care to remember, where you think, oh, this is going to fit, no problem. And you get there and it does not fit, and you got to cut things apart and put it back together. And we did that at my sister's with this mudroom build. I'm like, I'm going to build the whole bottom bench as one piece. And then we get it there and the angle just would not work.
Oh,
did you even try pivoting though?
Oh, we pivoted, we tilted, we turned, we did everything. We hooked it. Every possible scenario.
That's the worst, when something fits, you build it perfect for the space, but then you go to put it in and you go, I didn't think about tilting it in place. Yeah, because you have trim or something and you can't do it. Oh, the worst.
Yeah, there was like a little wing wall sticking out that was maybe 13 inches, and it was just enough where we couldn't hook it around the corner without. So yeah, we had to like disassemble the thing and then cut it with the track saw, put it back together.
Cut it?
Yeah, we made it work. But it wasn't painted yet. So we were lucky in that sense. It still hadn't been finished. But yeah, you don't want to do that like when the customer's there, the client. Like, what are you doing with that saw with the cabinet?
Don't worry, I'm a professional.
Yeah,
of sorts.
I gotta be honest, like I knew the lamello had a place in woodworking. Obviously, it looks very cool. I thought it was a little gimmicky initially. Then I saw him assemble this thing with the lamellos, and I honestly right now I don't think I'm gonna get one. I think I will have one in my shop at some point, because there's literally the clamping. So you have the two lamels where you can like join them with an Allen wrench, almost like the cheap IKEA furniture. You turn the thing 90 degrees or 180 or whatever, and it like joins it together. That, but like strong. And he was basically using that. The first time I really saw it was when you were building the shuffleboard table, and you used it to basically clamp your pieces together.
Oh,
those
right,
dominoes and the tabletop. Yeah. And I saw him just assemble this. I think this project would have been really hard to put together on site without those lamellos.
Oh yeah.
It's such an interesting tool.
Well, when I brought the two pieces together, since it was a combination of lamellos and dominoes, just the dominoes would have worked, but I would have had to keep the clamps on it until that glue set. And I used epoxy, to give me a little more open time. But with the Clamex clamps, like those are your clamps. You turn them and walk away, and it was done.
Dan, have you seen it at work yet?
I haven't studied it or did any research into it. The only thing I've ever seen with the lamellos is whatever Keith shows, little bits and pieces. So
he shows a lot of cutting and inserting, giggity. But the actual for assembly, he showed me a couple different ones. I'm not gonna lie, pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. But even when we were putting on those pieces of face frame, right, when you were there, all we did was put glue on and turn the cam clamps. Otherwise we would have had to clamp those.
That does sound interesting to be able to do that on site.
Yeah, it's great.
You have the little clamping force built in. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's got about 180 pounds of clamping force on those,
which is plenty for.
Yeah. You hope. Yeah, if your joinery anywhere within range, that should be enough.
As long as you don't have to bust out the walnut caulk.
No, well, yeah, that.
You don't have any gaps. You're good.
Yeah. It's not like that gap between the subway and the platform.
Mind it.
Pete, yes.
What are you up to this week, sir?
Me? I am I'm doing a podcast this week. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
It's this one. But actually no, I did a podcast earlier in a week with Tiff, and Lee was the special guest. Remember Lee?
Maker Conversations?
Yeah. Maker Conversations. I probably should have said the name. Thank you, Dan. But I was on so when I was the guest on it, Tiff surprised me with Lee as the co-host. It was a lot of fun. I loved that, he was part of it. So now that he was the guest, I was the co-host. But although she apparently let it slip, so he knew that I was on it. But it was super fun. I just, I love those two. And I'm still trying to get Lee to Workbench Con. And Lee, Danielle, if you're listening to this, several people have offered to pitch in $20
This is my
$50.
Tribute.
Yeah. I wear my hat there in a pod to, help him out. Also, we have a special code we got just for Lee. It's AWP. Shut your face. AWP, it'll get 50% off of a ticket.
Not 50% off. Not 50% off.
$50.
Oh my God.
It'll get 50%
We're gonna have some angry
off
listeners.
of $100 off of that ticket.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, $100 off that ticket, slash it in half. Done.
$50.
Yeah, $50.
Okay.
Yeah. But so I was on that podcast. That was actually a lot of fun. It was fun to catch up with Lee and Tiff as well. And
Tiff from Night Carver Designs.
Night Carver Designs. She's basically kind of the behind the scenes of Workbench Con. So that's really cool too. She
does all their social medias.
Yeah. She helps Kristen put it all together. So if you've noticed it this year being a lot more active, Tiff, she's on it. She wants it to be bigger than it is, and it's gonna be an awesome year, I think. So we're doing that. We're also, speaking of Workbench Con, kind of planning out our week, because we're we said, we're driving down. We're going to Tennessee to visit Bethany and Brett, who are in our community as well.
Yet another week closer.
Seriously, me and Dan and I were planning a impromptu last minute.
distracted. Keith was
So
stripping.
Keith is taking his shirt off. Yeah, this is why you watch the YouTube channel, guys, because you saw all of it.
I almost saw a Johnson nipple.
Almost saw his morsels.
All the morsels. Yeah, me too.
Patreon only.
All right.
For top tier patrons.
Sorry, Pete. Go on.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we're going to Tennessee, then we're going to Alabama, and then in Alabama we're staying in a converted school bus house, which is gonna be awesome, that our friends built. Super cool. And then we're going to Workbench Con. What was that?
Mike Montgomery?
No, it's our friend Tanya and Elvis. I'm forgetting the name of the Airbnb, but it's basically they call it a schoolie because it's a 2-story bus.
Oh,
well, it's a regular school bus, but it has a second story built on top of it, so you have like a loft and stuff. Super cool. So we're staying there, and then we're going to.
Did that pass all the codes?
It's Alabama. They don't have codes.
Okay. No engineering
Building
inspection
codes
required.
Yeah, this isn't New Jersey or Nebraska. No, it's loosey goosey. So yeah, we're stoked for Workbench Con. It's gonna be so much fun this year, as it is every year, I think. And I just got some word of some other people coming that weren't gonna go. So I'm hoping that Lee can go as well. Danielle. We're really trying hard. Anyways, beside that, in the shop, I finally knocked out all the ice climbing tools. Those are done, ready for delivery, and the customer's just like quiet. And just like, hey, it's ready for pickup. They're like, cool. I'm like, okay, ready for pickup. They're here. So
you got to hold on to them until they pick them up.
I'm sitting on a couple $1,000s worth of material here. So like, if they want it, like, plus they need the other half. So if they want it, they better answer. It's out of my hands. I got, whatever. At the end of the day, I got paid, and if they don't pick it up, then I guess I have a side thing to sell in the shop. Anyways,
Facebook Marketplace.
Marketplace them all. Aside from that, I got picked up a couple of commissions. I got started working on some designs for display, like folding display stands that I'm building for a buddy of mine, and I'm trying to make them in a way that I can use them as well myself, or maybe modify them, maybe CNC them out, or just like cut them to a certain plan, and knock those out as soon as possible. We also have a fair in March that we're already starting to prep for. So today, Emma and I were sitting down, just kind of going over like what we need to make for this event, because we kind of got cleaned out this holiday season. Most of the stuff that we still have left over is like holiday specific. So I only have like 7-8 cutting boards left. I need to have like 30. So I got to get on that. Got to make some of the coasters and all that other stuff. So if you have any good ideas for things to make for vendor events that sell well, hit me up. Keith is blurry.
Yeah,
and
sorry about that.
Aside from that, I don't know if did I talk about Emma last week coming on to help out? No. Okay. So Emma is retiring from teaching. See, she's been a dance teacher for a while. She was a professional dancer before that, and now she commutes an hour there, an hour back. Like she got done teaching at 10. It's 10:40 right now. She still has like 25 minutes to drive home.
Yikes.
She gets home really late, and it's a couple times a week. So she's gonna be done in June, and basically the idea right now is she's gonna get a remote work from home job, unless we can figure out a way for the business to pay for her income right now. So she is currently getting more and more involved, like a lot more involved. Like the goal is,
hey guys, it's Malcolm at.
Hey Malcolm,
That's
can
your
you wait
cue,
for a
Pete.
second? I still got it. Yeah.
You just got the
Anyways,
hook.
so long story short,
I'm still learning
Emma
how to do this.
is basically going to be coming on semi full time while still like finishing off work, but not. And if everything's good, if we're bringing in more income because we have that extra help on hand, she might not be going full time to another job. She might just stay on, which would be really exciting, and also very like different. That I'm gonna continue being part time. She'll be full time, but she's handling a lot of the administrative stuff, really helping me out. And honestly,
that is a big help.
I've gotten so much done with her assisting me. It's been incredible. We've been talking about this for like a year plus, but it's finally happening. She's really getting involved. She's helping me with the listings. We're doing SEO stuff, all this stuff. And we're just doing like 2% of what we need to do. When she comes on like full time and helps out with all this stuff, I cannot wait to see where we're going to be with her assistance. So super stoked for that. Dan, I want to hear what's up with you. Did we go with you yet?
No, I haven't went yet.
Go say the words.
Keith just disappeared.
There he is.
I'm here.
Full focus.
He's
sorry
he's
about
fighting
that.
with his camera. I feel like we have the same camera. Yeah, my week's pretty standard week, as always. I'm gonna say Etsy, but we were talking in the pre-show. I don't really go into like my process about how I handle.
And I
all
asked
those
you
orders.
specifically to do.
Yes. So I do. We've talked about how I do a lot of bow ties and I do inserts, and basically bow ties I cut on my CNC. I just cut off a chunk of wood and then I have a file that can be manipulated and to fit almost any size, anywhere between like 10 inches wide to 4 inches wide by however long I want, up to 48 inches long.
Hey-o.
Basically as long as my CNC can cut. And then I only offer 3/8 of an inch thick bow ties, and that was done specifically because I can do one on one side and one on the other. So like if I use a 4/4 board, I can get 2 per, or 1 per side. So I only cut 3/8 inch thick. I'll take it to the bandsaw, resaw it all off, and they all just kind of fall off, and it's the easiest way to go about that. And inserts are the same. They're all about 3/8 of an inch or thinner. No two miter saws are the same, or table saws for that matter. So they're all different. Way back when I first started, when I first had the idea to do inserts, it's not like I came up with inserts, but when I first came up with the idea of offering them, I did a shout out in my stories and asked people if they'd be interested in sending me their inserts for, a hard one to be sent back to them with their original insert. And a lot of people were kind enough to do that. So that's how I got a lot of my inserts in the beginning. And yeah, that's how it started. And that's kind of where I'm at. I've been doing, gosh, I must do 75 to 100 inserts a week. And then bow ties are just like, well, I've showed you how many orders I get in a week.
I know, and it makes me feel bad about my store.
And the last couple days hasn't been good. I only got 4 orders yesterday, and I've only gotten 3 today. I don't know what the heck's going on.
I got 4 this week.
Super low for me. Anyways, enough Etsy talk. I think I mentioned last week that I took on a farmhouse table build. I just picked out the wood for it. So I think I also mentioned that the client was going to bring me some of their barn wood, and I didn't tell you guys this in text. So they brought me this barn wood in the back of their truck, and I come out of my shop and I go to the back of their truck and I look at it and I was like, oh, heartbroken. They're like, will this work? They were like 3/4 inch cedar planks from like a fence. And I'm like,
we didn't even guess that because it would be so ludicrous.
I got some bad news for you guys. This is not going to work. But they were really cool about it. I mean, they were a little bummed, but I'm like, it's just not going to work for a dining table. I mean, you might be able to build planter boxes out of it or something. Don't throw it away. But I can't use it.
Offense.
Anyways, I talked them into going with a walnut.
Attaboy!
Yeah.
So I went to my local walnut dealer, and they want a farmhouse table, so I picked through the stack, even though they don't like me doing that there. I picked through the stack and I picked out the craziest character pieces I could find. So it should be really beautiful when I'm done. It's going to be really nice. I found some really nice pieces, so I'm excited about that. They also brought with them an old sewing machine, and they asked me if I could do something with that. And
Epoxy pour.
But make some curtains.
they want me to make a little table out of it.
Oh.
It's just the base, the old cast iron base with the foot pedal. Like an old Singer base.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I say sewing machine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's say
Martha
cast
Stewart,
iron epoxy.
can you make us
Yeah,
something?
I get your joke. I'm not a seamstress. No, I need to find somebody locally that can like sandblast it, because it does need some help before I paint it, because I'm definitely going to need to paint it. They did have one piece of wood that was usable in their stack that they brought. I did find a piece of white oak. It looks like it's quarter sawn from the grain, but it's really rough yet. But it is about an 1.25 inches thick. After I plane it down, it should be fine for a little table for, the sewing machine base. So I'll probably use that.
Basically just doing a top, right?
Yeah, I'm just doing the top after I get the base cleaned up and everything. So
I thought you were going to say I can get about 30 table saw inserts out of it.
I'll just use a piece of white oak that I got by rack.
Sorry, this is no good. I had to burn it.
This is trash. I'll burn it for you. Don't worry. Just leave it right here.
Anyway, I got these old rustic table saw inserts. If you're interested, $50 piece. Also, I dropped the ball on a commission and I completely spaced it until today. I had somebody reach out at the beginning of last summer and ask me about making them a porch swing. And I even brought it up on the podcast, I think. And I took a down payment for that. And then they said, no rush. So I was like, okay, cool. And then it just I spaced it off. I never wrote it down like a bozo. And they reached out today and said, hey, could you get that done before May? Because my kids graduate and we'd like to have it for the party. And I was like, yes, I can get that done.
You're coming up, I'll bump you up.
So if that person happens to listen to this podcast, I am really sorry. Oh yeah, I remember it. It's all upstairs.
And your
I got a mind like a steel trap. Everybody knows that. Anyway, so I'll be making a porch swing here pretty soon, hopefully.
Out of rustic cedar planks.
Rustic cedar planks. Yeah, it'll hold up nicely.
Double up.
Remember when I made those swing seats, which are basically just boards, but planks, they were shaped, whatever. And I made them a while back, and they were supposed to just get finished with Halcyon and just get taken down to Florida. The people the person that was supposed to get it, they had a falling out with the person that ordered it for them. So now they're going to be cutting boards.
Oh, you still had them in your shop?
Yeah, they just this from a while ago, but the fallout was a while ago. And
just all you got to do is carve a handle on there, boom, you got a charcuterie board.
Honestly,
right?
Yeah, because it's got a faux live edge on it now, because it got carved to be smooth, so when you sit on it, there's not a line to leave on your butt. Yeah. But
nobody likes the butt lines.
The butt lines are the worst.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all for me. That's all I got. You guys ready to go into questions? We already got a little preview of one.
I had a question for you, Dan, but I forgot it. So I guess we'll do it later.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, speaking of questions for me, I don't have any, but we got one from Malcolm, and that goes like this.
Hey guys, it's Malcolm at Bossa Nova Woodworks, and this week my question is, what's the weirdest question you've ever gotten as a content creator? Whether it's through this podcast or on Instagram or just in a face-to-face conversation, comments don't count. What is the worst or the weirdest question that you've ever gotten? Thanks. Oh, and again, I'm not talking about Dan's mom anymore. As Dan has stated many, many times, Dolores Dunlap is a saint.
Facts. All right. Because Keith said in the pre-show he doesn't have an answer for this, I'm going to throw him right under the bus and see if he has an answer.
Oh my gosh, I do not.
Keith?
The weirdest thing.
Cutting out.
I just want to come out and say that, it's crap that he said that comments don't count, because some of the weirdest things people say to us are in the comments.
We've all had really mean things said in comments.
Not just mean things. There's a lot of, you're like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, I think a lot of comments are questions as well.
Yeah, true.
Nothing's really coming to mind, so dang.
Well, while you think, should I go?
Might as well.
I actually have a weird
I don't have an answer either, so go real long.
I will talk slowly.
Okay, everybody, speed this up to 1.5 speed.
Podcast. And the answer is, so my thing is, it's not so much the weirdest. It was just it was the weirdest, but the rudest, but also it was from a person that clearly didn't realize how much time we all spend in the content game. Whether you're full-time, you've been doing it for a while, like Keith or Dan, who's been doing it for a decent amount of time, or actually Dan and I have been doing it for about the same amount of time, but he's full-time with his business. I'm full-time with this, but also full-time with my day job. when I was around like 40, like high 30s, I think when I hit 40K, someone asked me, and it sounded genuine, but the way they asked the question had this vibe. And this is not actually how they asked the question. I'll preface it like that. But the vibe was, how did you get 40,000 followers on Instagram? How did you, like, what makes you so special? That was the vibe. I forget what the question was, but that's how I took it. And I was like, just a lot of work. But like, I was so taken aback by the way they asked it. That was so politely rude that it made me, first I was offended. Then I instantly realized like, oh, like they don't realize how much work goes into this, because I could tell you, like, I work a 40-hour-a-week job, and then I probably put about 60 hours a week into content, talking to other people, growing the business, 3D printing, woodworking, editing videos, all that stuff. Like it's something you don't turn off. It's a lot of hours. And I get where they're coming from. They're trying to grow. They're trying to figure out like, how do I get to that point? Like if you can do it, I can do it. Thanks. I'm glad you're using me as an inspiration. But like it really, you got to put in the work. I remember, I'll never forget this. This is literally burned into my memory. Brad Rodriguez on his Made for Profit podcast, at some point, one of the early episodes was talking about, you're not going to turn a profit on this for like 2 or 3 years. And I remember hearing that and being like, that's effing crazy. Why would you do it that long? Meanwhile, me, 4 years in, finally starting to see a profit on this thing. Like, oh, he wasn't kidding. Like, this isn't something you could just jump into. So that was the weirdest, like, kind of offensive, whatever, like left field question that literally set me back on my heels. I was like, how do I answer this nicely? So,
but are you, maybe you're putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong word. Maybe you meant to say, how do you get 40,000? Not how you get 40,000.
So that was, so I'm only putting the emphasis on you, because the question was just like, basically like, oh my God, like you just had 40K. Like, how do you do it? Like, I mean, like, even you can do it. Then why can't I do it? It was like that. Like, that's why I'm putting the emphasis on how did you hit, because the way the question was asked, and again, it was in like the nicest way. I don't think they meant it in a rude way, but it was asked that basically was like, how did you hit 40K? Like, and like, how can I do it? Like, if you can do it, I can clearly do it. What am I doing wrong?
I've had reactions like that too, though. So I understand exactly. Like, I won't name any names or any like, but there's somebody sort of in our circle of family who has said
Brent Woodworking.
Well, when I say our, I mean mine and my wife's. They've said, why does he have that many followers? He's not special.
Why?
This person has literally said that, and I'm like, oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. So I get that. I mean, and to be fair, you know what? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I don't know why anybody follows me, because most of my content is trash. And I was even like talking about this in my stories the other night. I don't even know what to post anymore. All my content just seems to be inserts and bow ties, and there's only so many things you can show before it gets monotonous and people are like, okay, I'm out of here. It's the same. But
each time you post, only like 5% of your audience sees it.
That is true.
Like that. So like,
Dan, have you ever thought of diversifying your product line? Maybe get some more content.
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I put down new stuff all the time. I literally have 100 active listings on Etsy, and only like 10 of them sell. So like, it's not like I'm not trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Dan's my inspiration to do better on Etsy, because he's got 100 listings. I have like 50 something. I'm like,
but
as far
as the question goes, I still don't have an answer. I
don't either.
I feel like those kinds of questions just come and go so fast, and you just let them roll off your shoulder. It doesn't stick in my head.
I didn't have like a weird one, but like I wanted to bring that one up because I feel like we've all gotten it. Because there's always somebody I've gotten
reactions like that.
Why do you deserve, like, why are you a big account? Like, because I work. We all work. You guys work harder. Keith, like, Dan, no offense to you or me, but like Keith probably works like 10 times as hard as we do it on all.
I slept till noon today. Yeah, I get it.
Fair.
I mean, I
yeah.
used to work a lot harder on Instagram. Like there was a video every day on
But
the
as a
weekends.
whole.
On my day job before, like on the weekends, I would build and I would edit content during the week from everything I filmed to make sure I got a video out every day or a clip, whatever. Now I post like once every couple weeks, maybe, because I'm putting it on Facebook, and you're really not supposed to cross post, but the Reels bonus over there.
Yeah.
So I'm just like treading lightly.
Yeah.
But
and
Facebook
is the main winner, right? Like that's the main
thing. Cash cow right now. So
that could all change tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Dude, there are so many glitches on that. Every day I wake up, I'm like, do I have any violations today? Or did like all of a sudden my balance go to zero? Or am I not getting paid? Because last year there was a glitch last year and I lost out. I made a certain amount that month and I got my invoice and it was a tenth of what it was supposed to be.
Remember you telling me about that.
A lot of money and I'll never see it. Thank goodness it was only 1 month that did that. But
when something like that happens, you have no recourse. No, who are you going to argue with?
You emailed customer service and send in notes like 5 or 6 times, and they're like, "We've gotten all your requests. We're working on it. Please reply to this case number." Blah blah, and then it just goes into the ether because they have so many people sending in.
This is on Facebook or YouTube?
Yeah, Facebook. No, Facebook, YouTube. Okay. I've never had an issue.
Do you have a person at YouTube? Like, do you have a contact? No. I've heard of certain accounts, like they get a contact at YouTube.
Oh, right. They get kind of like a mentor or something.
Which I think
that's once you hit like 500,000 or something.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like that should be a thing on every platform. Like, how many accounts are out there that are 100K plus? Like, you should be able to like talk to a human.
I feel like on Facebook they offered that, or maybe even Instagram.
I don't know. Oh,
like you want to have a call with Meta or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be great. But I feel like anything you would say to these people or suggestions or stuff is just lip service. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, it goes out in the ether. Anyway, our next question is, and I typoed this, so I'm going to say the typo, is from Daniel Rayler.
Rayler.
I'm willing to bet that's Daniel Taylor.
Barely knew her.
It goes something like this. Hold on. Still learning. It didn't play. Why is that not playing? Let me try this.
You want to just like dub it? What's up, guys? It's Daniel Taylor Custom Crafted.
All right. Stall while I figure out how to play this directly from the email.
Daniel, I'm sorry if I'm offending you with the accent. I'm just trying to like get the cadence right. And I'm definitely not stalling right now for Dan.
All right, here we go.
What's going on, guys? It's Daniel with Taylor Custom Crafted here.
Pretty close.
Glad you found a excellent replacement while Mike is away romancing with Jason. By the way, side question, which one do you think Mike is? Big spoon or little spoon? Anyways, the real question I have for you this week is pretty simple. What is your favorite piece, type, or style of furniture to make? Thanks, guys.
Pete, you want to go first again?
Sure. Mike is a power bottom through and through. Power bottom, definitely little spoon.
Case closed.
But like he tells you.
Oh, he's little spoon for sure when it comes to him and Jason.
Big spoon, Jason. Let's go. All right.
Yeah. Nobody wants that beard rubbing on their back.
Exactly. Last week, somebody called him out because he got a fresh cut. It was last week, 2 weeks ago, and it looked like somebody said it was like a cereal box.
Yeah, that's right. I did.
That made me laugh so hard. I was
a box of grape nuts.
Had to be grape nuts. So, what is your favorite? So he said, "What is your favorite piece, type, or style of furniture to make?" I actually really like this question because it's not like, "What's your favorite type of furniture?" Like some people just like to make a certain piece. Like some people just like to make a cutting board. Some people like to make a nice live edge table. I am terrible at this, and if there's one thing that I want to grow at in woodworking, it's organic looking furniture. By organic, I mean very flowy lines, almost like plant or insect carapace like looking pieces when you have to shape them to a thing. When there's corners and edges on stuff, it makes like, I think in 90s 45s angles. I think in angles. Everything has an angle. It's chamfered. It's whatever, like it angles. I admire anyone that can make a piece flow and make it look round or curved or something. One of my mentors and a good friend of mine, thank goodness, he's incredible. His name is Glenn Guarino. He runs Guarino Furniture, and his pieces are literally in museums, and they have this like flow about them. The legs, he has a way of like piecing pieces of wood together with open centers and like the legs of a table that look literally like insect legs. Super cool. Highly recommend you check him out. I've also seen a lot of this, the furniture pieces. I've taught classes with him. I've been lucky enough to do that. So he's taught me a lot of the stuff. And the reason I like it, and this is going to be super nerdy for a second, good thing Mike is not here. I like it because it reminds me of like the games I used to play, like StarCraft or whatever, like the Protoss bodies were like very alien looking carapaces. Like that's how his furniture looks. He makes it look like otherworldly, or like the wood is literally flowing. So it's very few makers have made me feel about furniture the way he has. And that's just one example.
Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy.
It just like makes me think like wood is not supposed to do this. Wood doesn't do this. Wood, like some people do it with wood bending. Some people do it with carving. Some people do it with lamination. Like it just, when when people can see that kind of structure, so it's not like a favorite piece or style. It's just like when something is so outside the box that most people don't do it because it's a lot of work. And the fact that some people can, just like some people can draw, some people can see the curves in a block of wood before they even touch it. And I admire that so much. And I hope one day I'm cranking out pieces just like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to get like super passionate about it, but that's, if I have one goal in woodworking, that's it. Make organic, natural, artistic looking pieces as opposed to like square angles, rough edges, etc. Keith?
Wow.
Sorry,
I'm
to go so ham on this.
I'm a little similar. I'm actually kind of yin and yang on this because I do actually love making cabinets. Like I love cabinetry, looking at a beautiful kitchen and seeing all, like people just see boxes and things, but there's a lot that goes into it. And I love the clean look, clean lines of cabinetry. On the converse side, similar to what Pete was saying, I love anything with curves, like gentle curves. Like I actually like, whether it's bent lamination, trying to incorporate curves into a project, because I've made enough squares and boxes and things that, you know, a lot of the pieces I've done recently do have curves, and trying to figure out joinery in curves and make it all blend and flow together. It's very difficult. It's challenging, which is what I want.
That white oak coffee table you made.
That was a bit of a challenge. Yep.
That's indeed a beautiful piece.
If Paul at Copper Pig and Derek from Alden and I ever finished these whiskey cabinets we started a year and a half ago, you know, there was a lot of bent lamination on this and bringing joints together and fitting in.
Have you thought about building the doors and then separately the cabinet? It worked for Jason.
We did. We did. The door, everything is done, actually. All we have to do is like final cleanup, sanding, and then put finish on it, and they're done. They're sitting in.
Is this what you mean by the speed of Keith?
Yeah.
Speed of Keith.
That's it. Yeah. If it takes less than a year, then it's too fast.
That's going to become a thing.
Yeah. So I see a lot of...
By the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the speed of Keith, I was thinking about that earlier today, and I was like, I'm so glad Keith is on, because like Keith and Dan work very similarly. Like they'll make beautiful pieces, but like they need time. Don't rush them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with this porch swing thing.
Right. With my life.
Trying to
start something.
gather myself.
I'm aging the lumber.
Yeah. Trying to get in the right mindset.
Well, a lot of it's a mental thing for me, because I feel like if I just rush through a project to finish it, that it's just all a blur and I don't enjoy the process. But I do take way too long. Like I fart around and like mess, because when you've been doing this for a while, there's so many different ways you could do one thing. You're like, should I do it this way or that way? You know what? I'm going to try a new way and challenge myself. So that just takes even longer because it's something you haven't tried. So the whole process gets extended. But, you know, I'm trying to keep things fresh for my mental health and, you know, rather than
for the content.
Yeah, and the content. That's big too. So hopefully that answered the question. What about you, Daniel?
I also like curvy. I'm a big curve guy. However, I'm not a big fan of 90-degree angles. So a lot of the things that I like to design for myself kind of has a Four Eyes furniture vibe, where it's got like, the angles, instead of a 90, you're doing 85 or 15 degrees off 90, or, something like that. I really, really like that. And I mean, if you go through my post history, you can probably see that. I mean, even the bar stools that I've been kind of messing with recently, it's got that same vibe to it. So I think that's kind of my thing. Would that be called mid-century modern-esque?
I think.
I don't know.
I think
modernish.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see.
Boring.
Like I don't know if you guys know Mary Sy and Sean from Shaper. They recently went up to the Krenov School, kind of a gallery thing, and Krenov has a distinct style, but a lot of these projects, the people incorporated curves into the cabinets themselves, and then you kind of have more of a square, elegant, flowing, tapered bases. But there's so many different ways to incorporate curves and gentle flowing things to make things just look elegant.
Elegant.
But yet, like Pete was saying, still organic. Yeah. And I mean, right away when you see something, whether it's, you're like, wow, like whether it's pleasing to the eye or if it's just like, yeah, whatever, you never think about it again. So it's great to be moved, I guess, by a piece of furniture, not just move it.
I also like doing stuff that will make other woodworkers go, hey, how'd you do that?
How'd you do that?
Yeah, I need to rip that off.
That's like the greatest compliment.
Yeah.
That is honestly the greatest compliment.
Oh, well, I had my CNC cut. It was pretty easy.
Have you heard of the Onefinity?
Anyway, we have another question from our friend over from France. This is from Tomas. Let's see if I can get this display. No, the answer is no. The answer is no. Let's go to the email.
Well, while you play this, I'm going to go to the restroom, and Tomas knows why.
Yes. And here we go.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my
voicemail.
So call me
The French.
Hey guys, it's Tomas here. So Keith, I've heard several times in your Another Woodshop Sound podcast that you've met problems while installing clients' furniture, like it's too hot, you're missing tools, or another unexpected problem. My questions for you guys is, what would be a good checklist for smoother deliveries? By the way, I've heard you speak about drinking LaCroix all the time. I've looked for it for hours, if I could find some in France. And it's not LaCroix, but Lacroix. It's a French word. I've looked for hours on Google for nothing, and they don't have it in France.
Google.
Alright, bye. Oh, by the way, I've noticed that my voicemail is sometimes used as a pee break, and you know what? I'm proud of it. Everyone needs to pee. Hashtag pooping with Pete. This pee break is proudly offered to you by tsg.mix on YouTube and Instagram. Please don't pay.
I like how he sped it up like it's a commercial for like Viagra or something. Like side effects may include.
So for anybody who didn't get that, he's looking for, so he says that Keith, he's heard that you've had problems while delivering clients' furniture, like it's too hot, you're missing tools, or an unexpected problem. Do you have a good tip for a checklist, or do you have a checklist on what to bring to a client delivery?
I don't. And I think the best recipe here is to have signed drawings like up front, so everybody and specifications, so everybody is on the same plane and they know what they're getting. Maybe even a nice visual or something. But even that, with this table that I built that was 2 inches too tall, they had the specs and it was on the quote and they approved it. But listen, there's no fail safe, I don't think, to anything, because people, If you give them a spec sheet, even if you give them a drawing, they're like, "Yep, this sounds good. That sounds great. Looks good." And then when you deliver it, it's seeing it in person for the first time can be a totally different reaction than seeing it on paper. And that's exactly why we talked about before, why I brought these slabs and I literally did full-size mock-ups of the 2 leg designs, brought them up there so we could put them in the room and we could position them on the desk exactly where she wanted them. So, she sat there with a chair and made sure her knees didn't bump them and all this stuff, and went through this whole little dry run. And you know how much time and basically like headaches that could save me down the road? It was an extra like 3 hours round trip to go there, but now I know exactly what she wants and where they're going, and now I can just move. I mean, a checklist, I guess, is a good idea.
He's asking about a checklist for
deliveries,
deliveries and tools that you need to take with you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of installs.
I can tell you just from like when Keith and I were packing up the cabinet, he already had like a list. And it's very this use case specific. Like, okay, there's some plumbing that might be in a way. How do I bore the hole out? So we're talking like, what is it? A jigsaw, or maybe a hole saw or something else. And I need to assemble it. Obviously, drill and driver. Like, there are some tools that are kind of going to come on every job.
Yeah.
Do you ever bring something like? Do you bring a track saw on every job?
Yeah, I did on that. Oh, did I bring a track saw on that? I forget. But like anytime I install like shims, like levels. And I had the vacuum ready to go. I hate going to someone's house and asking to borrow anything.
Oh God, and I've been guilty of that so many times.
Do you have the sustainer vacuum, or was it just like a
just my CT? And my goal always is when I do an install or anything like that is I want to leave that place cleaner than when I got there. So I will vacuum everywhere. Every nook and cranny in that room will be clean, even though I didn't make the mess there.
Wait,
and I forgot
Ritz
the dang
cracker
vacuum.
isn't from me.
Use it as a leveling feat.
I'm like, hey, do you have a vacuum? I'm like, oh yeah, I got the shop vacuum. I'm like, do you have a brush attachment? Because it's like this big plastic thing. I'm like, I don't really want to vacuum out like these freshly, these cabinets with that. But yeah, inevitably you always, unless you're installing all the time, like a cabinet maker or something where you have all your tools in like sustainers or Milwaukee
packed out van
pack outs, and exactly. And that's kind of an ever evolving thing too. Like, you know what? I need this level, and now I need 2 levels, and I need a laser level. I need the stand. I forgot my tripod. So I think as you do more and more installs, you come up with a checklist of everything that you need, and you'll never forget anything. But guys like me that I'm doing it once in a while, I inevitably forget. Like, frick, I need a screwdriver. I forgot pliers, or I forgot an inch and a half screws. I only have 1 inch. It's always something.
I think a basic tool set is always a must.
Yeah.
I'm 100% the same as Keith. I don't do a whole lot of installs, but whenever I do them, I always forget something. There are
doo-doo.
Doo-doo. There are tools that you take for every install, drill and driver, like Keith was talking about. But I've always been lucky that if I forgot something, there's always been a big box store not that far away. So I will just go down the street and buy a new thing if I need it instead of looking like a bozo. I'll just be like, hey, I got to make a run. I'll be right back. But I am guilty of not taking a vacuum. I really should be better about that. Now I do have to ask to use a vacuum. And usually they're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get it. I'm like, oh, you sure? I'll totally do it. No, I get it. Okay. So maybe I won't take a vacuum. That's how I get out of cleaning.
I've also forgot, like I bring my drills, but I didn't charge the batteries the night before. So I get there, and I don't have a charger.
I've done that.
I've done that.
And then I've even gone as far as to like ask the homeowner, hey, do you have a drill I can borrow? And they give you like this old 90s Ryobi. That'll work.
I went to Home Depot once. This is back in the day. I was installing some cabinets. I went to Home Depot, bought a 2-pack of batteries, and between the 2 of them, they had a 3/4 charge.
Yeah, usually those come with like a 1-bar charge or something.
Yeah, so one had a 1, the other one had 2, and I was like, this will have to do. And I remember, I think I had to run the saw with it too. And
I was doing a install at my sister's this mudroom, and I have the DeWalt FlexVolt job site saw, which is great as long as the batteries are charged. So obviously my sister doesn't have a table saw. So I'm cutting this last piece. I had one piece of trim to rip down and the battery runs out. So I would literally wait for 10 minutes. It would build enough charge back up to get 6 inches cut. And I would wait 10 minutes. It would build enough, make the next. It took probably an hour to cut, maybe 2 feet of this piece of trim. God. And Pete, you said it, that was a great point, is like, when you're going to go to an install the next day or whatever, map out the whole, do a dry run in your head. Like, okay, what am I going to need? I'm going to need this, that. And I mean, inevitably you could still forget something, but if you do a dry run in your head.
Photos and videos, I think, are key. That's one thing that's like helped me out in the past is you go on site each time and you do at least once and take photos, measurements, everything. But sometimes a video, like even just like panning around, like the way you would travel down the stairs, you would have been like, oh, I can't assemble this. The stairs are too tight. You would have just known it instead of thinking about it, back and forth. Like I think photo and video, like photos are great. Video, if you can. Record whatever you can, the room, the space, the where might be difficult, the space you're gonna have to work in. Because that's the other thing. You're installing. Like you're not just a lot of times you're not just putting something in place. Like you have to like set up somewhere.
Yeah, and Keith was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as just taking the piece, finished piece, and putting it in place.
And
sometimes you gotta sometimes you gotta walk it around a corner. Sometimes it doesn't fit through the doorway. There's a lot of things you gotta think about.
I had to literally tip it, like go end for end, like boulder it into the bathroom myself. And then unwrap the shrink wrap and the cardboard and then flip it over on end. And
also there's a rumor, and I don't know if this is true, that drywall isn't always flat and straight. Like walls in a house might not be 90. I think it's totally fake, and all the drywalls are out there, and framers are doing a great job.
Yeah, they'll blame it on the framers. Yeah.
However, don't ever trust that something's 90 if you're installing in a house. That's the biggest, I think, issue. Because
I got news for you, Pete. You might want to sit down. It's not a rumor. There's no such thing as a 90-degree corner in a house.
No,
there's a corner, but it's not 90.
If I ever win $1 billion, I'm going to insist that all corners are 90 degrees. It's going to be my one request when I build my own house.
There'll be no wood movement in my house.
I'm going to go through this whole damn house and check every corner. If they're 90 degrees, you're ripping it down.
He's going to run every stud through a kiln, so it's going to be case hardened, so it can't move.
I'm going to pay extra, but it's going to be worth it.
So silly.
Anyways, that's all the questions we got, but we do have some read-ins or some write-ins that Pete can read. Pete, you want to read those, or if not, I will.
So well, sure, why not? Ramiro from, where is it? Woodworks?
Whittier.
Whittier. English hard.
Isn't that a place in California? Whittier, California?
I don't know. Is it?
Whittier
Mountain?
I think that's Mount Rainier, guys.
That's
okay.
Sorry about the squeak. That's for my thing. So he is asking, where is it? I was wondering if you have any advice regarding Amazon Business Program. I've received an email about joining, and if I do, I get 30% off of up to $200 off my first purchase. It's not that much if you really think about it in a business, but I use Amazon a good amount of my business, but I was wondering if you guys have any insight regarding these business program or this business program. So I'll just answer quickly. I have seen it. The thing with it is basically you're setting up if I understand it right, and I may be wrong here, you have to set up basically a separate Amazon account. And if you want Prime, you need to pay for a separate Prime account. The Amazon account is free. So you can like set up your business stuff. You get some lower pricing on certain items, but not always. But you need to pay for Prime again. So it kind of makes no sense. So what I do is I use my regular day-to-day Prime account, but every business purchase runs through the business card. I have like the Amazon card that gives me points, kickback on all the purchases. I forgo the 5%. I just run everything through my business card. That is how I handle it, because Amazon will usually give you the best deal around. So why go even crazier and push it and like try to go with the bigger deal? Now, we did have somebody in the pre-show that was saying that it doesn't really make sense unless you're buying, like he said, like 10,000. But like if you're buying significantly, you might not be seeing a decent enough return. So think about how much you're going to actually be buying. I think if you have like a business, it makes sense because you can run it through like a separate billing thing. It might make sense for you to actually get Amazon Prime separately for that account. But if you're running out of your house or it's just you and your wife, whatever, like I think it's fine to run it through your personal Amazon Prime account.
Well, here's a question I have. Before Keith goes, I know Keith has a good answer. I don't have an answer because I don't know. My question is, if you have an Amazon business, can you use it with your LLC and get that tax exempt status? That might be worth looking into.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's something to look into.
Anyway, it seems like Keith may have an answer because he was raising his hand.
No, I was just looking because I do have an Amazon business.
Oh,
Prime.
I'm sorry. I missed it. I just kind of talked over you. But
no,
please.
I have an Amazon Business Prime, and you touched on something very important. Is you're right. Sometimes the prices are more expensive in the business than they are in the regular. So I always go back and forth and just double check the price. And it seems like you'll get a better price on business if you buy a lot of things in bulk. Like, but I'm not buying 80 screwdrivers to save 15 cents each. So, that's where it does come down for business, whether people buying and reselling or they're just buying mass quantities. I mean, I don't know what I was just looking here. It says I've saved $129 in the last 12 months. So
that's a Amazon Prime account. Right there.
So
isn't it 129, 140, something like that? I forget what it is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, with fast free shit. Yeah, I don't, So, but if I am going to buy something for the business, like a big purchase, and it's the same price in either one, I definitely go through my business Prime. Because it's easier for me to keep track of all that stuff for taxes.
That might be a good reason.
That tax exempt thing is a freaking brilliant idea to look at.
It just popped into my head, so
yeah,
it would make sense. I mean, that's one of the things about creating business accounts is because technically you're not supposed to be double paying for taxes or sales tax. That's why you get tax exempt. Mm-hmm. So you're not paying sales tax and then charging sales tax.
Because you're not the final.
Exactly.
I
would totally, if I had a Amazon business account, I would totally
talk to your accountant. Talk to your accountant about it. But like you can buy material without paying tax because you're making things to then sell. That's when you collect sales tax.
Well, if you're collecting, like I only collect sales tax on things that I deliver in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's why we have CPAs. I'm not getting
this
into
is why
the weeds here.
Get a CPA. Actually, I'll give him a shout out. A different podcast. Green Suitors just did a podcast on about taxes and whatnot. So Jason and Sedge were talking about it. Jason just kind of like laid it all out and how he's been handling it. Some accounts to like look at that talk about taxes and whatnot. And then basically the whole gist of it is get a CPA. Like that's the gist. And if you're running this in any kind of like, if this is starting to make money for you, get a CPA. 100%.
I mean, it's one of the best things I pay money for every year.
He's
I think
paid for himself.
I pay my CPA $500 a year.
Yeah,
that's pretty much mine. Yeah, but another thing about business accounts, like Rockler Professional, you can get a Rockler Professional account. If you have a business, you got to send all the information in. And yes, the pricing is a lot better on a lot of things.
Oh,
but you can't use that free shipping coupon they always have. So sometimes it cancels itself out. Like you end up not saving anything because shipping is $25. But if you bought it on the regular Rockler site, it's a little more expensive, but you get free shipping. So you got to kind of,
tomato.
Like they get you coming. Yeah. They get you coming and going. There's really no way to save a ton of money unless you're tax exempt.
Yeah. If you're doing a volume though, heck yeah.
Yeah.
But I also I'm in a mindset of like, keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Like don't overcomplicate it. Don't open too many different accounts for whatever. Like if it's really making a difference, if it's tipping the scale, yes. I mean, but
if you're saving pennies, it's not going to do you any good unless you're doing like super high volume stuff.
The work you're putting in sometimes, like with certain things, if you like to track certain things or go through a certain extra steps to get something to save a couple of dollars, that time you wasted to do it might not be worth it. Think of it that way. Unless you're doing volume.
Yeah, volume's key.
We have one more write-in question from Chad Lincoln. Peter.
I don't have this one. Sorry. Could you?
I got it. I got you.
Thank
I can
you.
read. I just learned last week.
So
Chad Lincoln from Lincoln Woodworks writes in, do you ever fear for your good friend Mike when he travels anywhere where he's going to be with that Jason Bent guy? No, we don't worry about Mike. He's a grown man. He can handle himself.
Yeah. Plus, like we said, he's a power bottom and he knows what he wants. And he wants
they're a pretty good
Bent
couple.
Daddy to
I mean, they know their roles.
he wants to Jason Bent him over.
Okay.
Sometimes if he gets to turn the camera on, though, that's his really only downs.
It's fine. Mike won't hear this.
Anyway, that's it for questions. That's all we got.
It so is.
That's it.
It was a good episode.
It was okay. It was meh.
It was meh. It was double meh plus. Meh
Double
with two
meh
H's.
It was extra meh.
Extra meh. Well, Keith, thank you so much for joining us again.
Right
It's
on.
been so nice to threaten you to get us to join or get you to join us. Whatever. English hard. Really appreciate it. Dan, thanks for being here every week for the last almost 3 years. We're about to hit 3 years.
I'm not as important as Mike, so I don't have anywhere to go. So
That's fine.
I'm always here.
Me too. So look at us. Two of us.
Anyway,
him.
We're getting real close to Workbench Con. Can't wait to go.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to be there.
Speaking of Workbench Con, if you need
shop
a
sounds
ticket,
discount code,
AWP.
you could use Shop Sounds, but we would prefer it if you used AWP to save yourself $50, not 50%. $50 off your ticket. It's not too late to go, folks.
And make sure you use the Shop Sounds code, which is AWP. Yep.
I like that. That's a good way to put that.
Because they're just another wonderful podcast. So that's their code. AWP. Use that for $50, not percent off your ticket.
$50.
When is this Workbench Con thing?
Dude, it's in like
the
3 weeks?
first weekend in March.
It is.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be there, right, Keith?
Yeah, I'm teaching.
I hope you're gonna be there.
Oh my goodness, you're teaching.
But February's such a short month.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's
Seriously.
the thing with February.
In 3 weeks exactly, we're gonna be on the middle of that show.
True. What are you teaching, Keith?
Jason and I are doing
iPhone.
Basically, all you need is your phone.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Not iPhone. That's right. Not sponsored by Apple.
Right.
So just a phone, but everyone's like.
Speaking of that, I was listening to an episode of your podcast. I forget the name of it.
Shop Sounds.
But you talked about how you bought a Samsung. Mm-hmm. How's that going? Are you still using that, or did you ditch it?
No, I returned it weeks ago.
Trash.
Did you?
Yeah.
Trash.
Okay. I was curious.
I had seen people using it, like it produces fantastic pictures, and
it does.
Some of the video was really great as well. So, and at the time I had cracked the lens on my iPhone, so I was waiting for a new one. I was like, in the meantime, let me just buy one. I'll try it out, and if I like it, great. And I was so frustrated with that thing. Like, it had all these different controls, like the Pro video. You can change white balance and you can adjust contrast and all this stuff. Which
sounds great.
It does, but it's still
good.
grainy. It's grainy, and I mean, if anyone watches my latest YouTube, there's going to be footage from an iPhone and from that phone. I'd love to see if people can pick out the difference, because I had to do a lot of color grading and sharpening in the Samsung one, and I use my normal what the heck microphone, what's that wireless mic, the DJI wireless mic that I always use on my iPhone. Plugged it into the Samsung.
Not the Rode, the DJI or Rode?
Yeah, I got the DJI.
Oh,
recently. DJI. And I brought all the footage that I did voiceover in the shop with, and the levels were through the roof.
Oh,
like it almost like put the gain up to 10, to 11. And like even bringing it all the way down, it still doesn't, it sounds okay, but not great. So I don't even know how it did that. And
I think the other problem is inconsistency in the video and audio. Is like, if you were just recording on a Samsung, fine, but when you start mixing it, it messes with it a little bit.
I think if you started with a Samsung, you might be able to dial it in and figure everything out.
Yeah. You probably adjust the gain on the mic and bring it down from 0.
How did you like that? The not the UV filter, but the light filter that you were clipping on. Was it making a difference?
ND filter? No, I didn't notice a difference.
He had like a clip-on filter that went over all the lenses.
ND filter.
Size. Yeah.
Neutral density
Dan,
filter.
Yeah. So I mean, that's supposed, because a lot of times what I get is, because my ceilings are so high, the lights like up at the top quarter of the screen, it's just kind of whitish, like a haze.
Right.
So I was trying to get rid of that.
That's why I keep the little
I'm
the
sure
shade
Nick probably
on the M50.
told you about all that.
Yeah. You guys were talking about on one of the episodes.
Neutral density filter is just like putting a pair of sunglasses on.
We say ND, Dan. We say ND in industry.
Oh,
nobody says the whole thing. Okay.
All right. Let me spell it out for you, even.
ENDEE.
I don't know how to spell neutral. I think it starts with an X.
The Z is silent.
Anyway.
Well, anyways, thanks for joining us, everyone. Again, use the AWP if you want to get $50 off of your or shop sounds if you're a pleb.
A pleb.
And a huge thank you once again to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. You let us keep doing this every single day, every single week, every year, because it's like year 3 now. We're coming up on 3 years.
We are coming up on 3 years.
Wow.
Actually, when is that going to be? That's in like a couple weeks.
March 10th, I believe, is
so I think we're one
episode.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks away from our anniversary. We're a month away.
Oh.
Wow, a week after Workbench Con.
I think year 3 is the paper anniversary, so I expect
the paper.
I don't know.
I'll get you a paper cut. That's fine.
You know how like anniversaries have a theme, like
you might be right.
Anniversary 1 is ashes or something,
and then like wood. 7 is rock.
Yeah, which one is wood? That's the one.
Wood.
Yeah,
I'll do it. I got that one, Kayla.
Hey, I'm gonna give you the wood at WorkbenchCon.
Well, thank you to all of our patrons and everyone that listens. If you guys have any questions for us for next week, we don't have a guest right now, but I think Mike's gonna be back. Well, Mike's gonna be back next week, unless Keith just wants to keep coming back every year.
Maybe we fire Mike.
I'm doing my own podcast next week.
Yeah,
I'm do a double shift.
Or we'll just combine all of them.
Let's
Keith,
get rid of
Mike and Jason.
We'll bring on Keith and Jason. We'll just meld them and boom.
Or we'll bring Lefty back.
Another
just
Lefty.
We're not there.
I'm down with that.
All right, well, guys, we'll see you all next week. Thank you all. Love you all, and bye-bye.
Love you long time.
Y'all, bye.
See you.